Oh, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? It's Jay here again. We're back. It's Thursday, August 4th. Can you believe it's August 4th? I've got a little bit of a new soundtrack running here now, and I've got another way to do it because we're not in our normal location. But how's it going tonight? Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. What's up, Brian? How you doing tonight? Good to have you. Yeah, I hope the music, I don't even know if this music is going to stop. It's supposed to stop, but we'll find out. It's all good. So what's going on out here in Baltimore? We've had some pretty hellacious weather today. It's been 98 degrees outside. It's been 105 inside the roastery. So this morning I got up at 6 o'clock and I came down to the roastery, did all the roasting prior to 9:30 before it got really hot. And that was a good thing because, man, it was bad. It was bad today. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Thank you, George. Good to see you. Thank you for coming out. What are we doing here today? We've got, there it is. There it is. What's up, Tony? How you doing? The Ono Bros are all here. Good to have you all here. Thank you for tuning in. So tonight we've got some interesting stuff. I've got a cold brew coffee we're going to do. So we're actually not going to brew the coffee like we normally do. I've actually got a coffee that's pre-brewed because it's got a little bit of a mission attached to it. And then we're also going to be smoking the Cavalier Geneve White Series Elegante. That was gifted to me by our guest last week, Alex Russell, who is in Cleveland. And thank you, Alex, for that. That was really wonderful. I'm looking forward to trying it. What's up, Mom? How you doing there? What's going on? Mom, you know what I was wondering? What is Mum Ra? Is that Ra? I'm sorry, man. Is that like Amun Ra? What is the meaning? I've always kind of been wondering about that. And it looks like in your image that you're in a mosque. Is that correct? I was actually in Jeddah back. Speaking of mosques, I was in Jeddah in March doing the Cup Tasters Championship. You might have seen it. There's a video on the channel, on the Ono Coffee channel, about that competition. And you know, it was really interesting because as I'm flying from Riyadh to Jeddah, people are making their Umrah. And if you're not familiar, what I've been told, the Umrah is of Muslims' pilgrimage to Mecca that is done outside of the official Hajj. Like the Hajj I think the Hajj just concluded, right? I know it started, and I think the Hajj is 1 month long or something like that. And, okay, yes, okay, great. And, Brian's rocking out. Should I continue it? Like, I can choose on this system to loop the music. But then I think 2 hours of that same track would be a little bit, over. That would be interesting. That would be. But like and so what I thought was really interesting is that, you're supposed to remove your clothes and wear basically a white robe, some kind of robe, so that everyone is equal when they make their pilgrimage to the Kaaba, I think, right? And they were even doing it on the plane. I was like, wow, that's really fascinating. Oh, Malcolm. Oh, that's Malcolm X. Okay. It's very small on my screen, so it's hard for me to see. Very nice. Anyway, so we're here, and how y'all doing this week? How was your week? What are you drinking? What are you smoking? Put them in the comments here, right? And yeah, let's get right into it. So our coffee today is a cold brew from a company called Cafe Femenino, and it's a single origin brew. And as you can see, it says here, not intended for retail sale or distribution. I don't know why it says that. I think I got this as a sample during the SCA show in Boston, and this, I guess, I don't know where I got it. It's a Tetra Pak container made by Carry Food Service, or packaged by Carry Food Service. And what is Cafe Femenino? Cafe Femenino is this project that started in 2003 that was to get ethical sourcing from female farmers in Peru to give them better access to market. And basically, the coffee business, as most industries, is very male dominated. And for women farmers to get a foothold is very difficult. especially in Latin American countries, and I guess even mostly in the countries that are growing, whether it's Asia, Africa, they're very machismo kind of countries. So women aren't given much respect. And so this project is about getting, women farmers to the market so that they can get a fair share. And it's interesting. And I really didn't know much about it till I started reading about this for this. But this is their cold brew coffee beverage. Oh. Hang on a second. This is their cold brew coffee beverage. And we're going to give it a try. I've got a chilled glass here. So we're going to open it up and see what it's like. If it's not black coffee, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. Let's see what happens. Black coffee. That's good. I had this chilling on the ice for the last, half an hour or so. So it's got good color. Looks not bad. Let's have a smell. Stop. I had my screen replaced because I broke it last week. And the response time is very different. It's relatively, maybe a little bit of chocolate. It doesn't have, one thing you that I worry about when I'm trying different pre-prepared drinks like this is that it's going to be too dark. It's going to be heavily roasted. It's going to get a lot of char. But this one doesn't have those aromatics. They're actually rather pleasant. There's a weird tanginess to it. Like tangy, juicy, herbal, vegetal. The finish is really clean and quick. Like it's kind of dry on the palate, but there's a very herbal and vegetal character to it. Like there's a bit of puckering in the cheeks, and that's kind of strange, actually. A little bit on the brighter, not brighter, but there's a little bit of brightness, but it's more clean. It's very clean. It's not as cold as I'd like. So I'm going to put a little bit of ice in it. There we go. Some ice. So let's get up with here. Tony's got the CAO B3 Robusto and a Diet Cherry Pepsi. Excellent. George says he's doing old school with a Charles Medley 12-year bourbon alongside an older HPC La Historia. Oh, very nice. Very nice. And Mom says, it depends on how old you are. My name is from a character from Thundercats. Oh, Thundercats, I have to be honest, I did not watch a lot of Thundercats when I was younger. My apologies. I might miss the I might maybe say the reference. When I think of Mom, I think of champagne and like sled style sailing boats. Like that Mom 36 sailboat, that would have been pretty badass to have. But those were expensive. I think those in the 90s, they were like $90,000 for the 36, for the 3.6 meter. But it was fast and kind of awesome. But that's nothing that Tony's downing. Vintage Diet Cherry Pop, that's for sure. Both him and Kevin Smith salute you. I worked with Kevin Smith back in the 90s. We did a movie called what was it called? Vulgar. It's about a clown and rape. It's very disturbing kind of movie. Very disturbing. I was hoping it would get like crazy on the cult circuit so that I would have some kind of like cult clout, but that never happened because it's really just kind of a freaky movie. George says, vegetal isn't a note that I look for in coffee. Yeah, it's a little bit of a strange note. That's for sure. And Tony is old enough. I'm not, but Tony is. But here's the thing. It's not very dark. Like not in the classic sense, like where you would think that you're getting notes of char and things like that. It's not like that. It's a very kind of the finish is kind of crisp and clean. So I don't know. Rusty, what's going on, man? Just got out. Now the question is, stop for ice cream or no? I don't even know why that's a question. There really is only one option, and that is yes. Speaking of which, so while I was in Cleveland, I went down to Ohio City, which is basically a neighborhood of Cleveland, close to the river. And they have this big market. And down the street from the market is the kind of the big local ice cream chain called Mitchell's. And it's in this converted theater. So there's a big marquee out front, but the interior is completely their factory and everything. It's really quite attractive. And there's something about this time of year where I'm really fascinated by strawberry ice cream. I'm just fascinated by it. Like on the way up to Seven Springs to the mountains on Sunday, I was like driving through Cumberland. I looked up a place. Oh, there's an ice cream shop. I'm going to check it out. They had strawberry. I had it. Very nice. And so while I was in Cleveland, I'm like, I'm going to go check out this place. And they're like, with the small scoop, you can get two flavors. And I was like, okay, what flavors do you have? They have strawberry. Okay, strawberry's good. They have cookies and cream. That's good. I never know what really to get. I got strawberry and chocolate in Cumberland. And I was kind of leaning towards strawberries and cookies and cream in Cleveland. And I asked the girl, I said, hey, what's this flavor? Strawberry jalapeno. And she was like, well, it's kind of interesting. I was like, all right, let me taste that. So I took a taste, and it's like strawberry with a very light hint of the jalapeno. That jalapeno heat just kind of subtly flowing as an undercurrent. And I was talking about the strawberry too, and I said, okay, yeah, let me have the strawberry with the Oreo. And I sat down, and I'm eating the Oreo side first, and then I get to the strawberry, and I'm starting to eat it, and suddenly I'm like, what's with the heat? And I'm thinking, what's with the heat? I was like, is the heat from that one sample so like surreptitious that it's now being activated by the strawberry? And then it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, he probably thought that I meant to give me the strawberry jalapeno, when really I meant just the strawberry. So I said to her, I said, hey, did you give me the strawberry? She's like, yeah, I did. I was like, oh, okay, that explains why. And I was like, it was really kind of freaky. But not bad. Oh, Kevin Smith Vulgar. Oh, yeah. Kevin Smith Vulgar was very dark. What's the best ice cream to pair with a rich cigar? Ooh, that's a good one. Ice cream or donut? Maybe you could put the ice cream in the middle of a donut, like slice the donut like a sandwich. That could be. Sorbet. I don't know. Sorbet has to be like, maybe today would be a good, like 100-degree heat. That's good for. I don't know. For me personally, it's like, I don't know really when I would go for sorbet. And George says Mitchell's in third place behind Jenny's and Graters. I'm not from Graters. I'm not sure about. I've not tried Graters. There was a Jenny's somewhere in the Cleveland area, but I'd had Jenny's, well, just as in the Pines, so I didn't bother to chase it down. There was another place called Honey something that instead of using sugar, they use honey. Maybe it was honeybee ice cream, and they use honey instead of sugar. I was thinking about trying to check that out, but then like that was there's only so much you really can eat. Like Saturday when I was leaving, I had some coffee at Troubadour, and then I went over to a place called Larder, which is this delicatessen because so while I was in Chicago, of course, I was visiting with Tony, the corporal at Troubadour, but I also took the opportunity to visit another friend, Christopher Ferran, who works or was part owner in a company called Phoenix. And he's got this whole thing that he's working on with some farmers down in Colombia that they call Koji Supernatural. And they're using Koji bacteria to process the coffee, ferment the coffee. And he was working with a local chef by the name of Jeremy Umansky, who owns this place called Larder. And so I went by this is their book, right? And I went by the Larder deli because I wanted to try this pastrami that was cured and somehow processed using the Koji culture. And Koji is this culture that they use for fermentation, and I really don't understand all of it. I just got the book. I'm just starting to get into it, and basically, it's part of the magic that they use to make like soy sauce, right? So if you've had soy sauce, you've had koji, and so this guy uses the koji to process the pastrami, and so I was like, I want to try this pastrami sandwich. And you get pastrami sandwiches, right? And they're really thick, or they're really, you get pastrami. It's based pastrami is what? Basically corned beef that's been, cured and whatnot. And let me see if I have a picture of it. But basically, this corned beef was processed, and can we see how? And I think part of the process makes it really super tender. So when I got the pastrami sandwich, they have pastrami or pastrami Reuben, and so I got the Reuben at the suggestion of the woman behind the bar. And you get pastrami sandwiches, and they're sliced, right? Slice, 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 slice. They stack them. This was one slice, and here's the picture. I don't know if it really shows up well, but right here, there's one big slice of pastrami, and you think that pastrami, when they're sliced, you get that resistance, right? That resistance on your incisors, right? This was like soft and thick and really just very nice, very different than any kind of pastrami I'd ever had. And so I was just fascinated. And so I'm still learning about this koji thing. But let's catch up here. Don't notice too messy. Too messy with the ice cream or without the ice cream? Tony says he'd have to do the New York Super Fudge Chunk. Oh, that's a nice one. I never really get that one. When I get with the Ben & Jerry's, I like the Chubby Hubby. That mixture of vanilla with caramel ribbons, chocolate covered, pretzels. Love that. I love that. The solution is to make an affogato with fantastic gelato, so you sip while you smoke it. Oh, you know what? I really should do that. So I've got at home that I used to use a lot before, a Paco Jet. And a Paco Jet is this thing where you freeze this container and you can make all kinds of stuff with it. But one of the easiest things to do is you freeze the container filled with, let's say, some fruit and some cream and some sugar, and then you use the blade that basically shaves and whips it into like ready-made ice cream. Now, it's not instantaneous. You still have to freeze the beaker and then process it. But it's really quite good. It can be quite good. That would be interesting. I mean, I haven't done it in a long time. I need to do that. Maybe we'll try that next week. Koji fermentation. Yes. Did you know that the Japanese tried koji fermentation for whiskey way ahead of their Scotch-based tech? Oh, I wonder how it turned out with that. Just got a chipwood. Okay, that's good. That's good. Did they have any chocolate tacos? Because I hear that they're being discontinued. All right, so let's move on. Now that we're already, 20 minutes into it, we should start looking at moving along. So today's cigar was, if you recall from last week, we had a guest. We have, of course, Tony the Corporal was with us, and Alex Russell, the green thumb guy. He was with us, and he was very kind enough to give me this cigar, the Cavalier Geneve. Now, here's the thing. Cavalier, right? That's when I see the word, it says Cavalier, but actually, really, nowadays, I kind of don't see it that way. But I was wondering, is it Cavalier or is it Cavalier? Right? So when I first met this girl who speaks Spanish, she was talking about the car that she had, and she was telling me, "Oh, I got an American car. It's a Cavalier." And I was like, "Cavalier? I don't know what that is, but that's cool. Whatever." And so finally went to go visit her, and the Cavalier was what we knew as the Chevy Cavalier. And I was like, "Oh, let's go Cavalier. Yeah, got it." So I don't know if it's Cavalier or Cavalier, but it's evidently somehow tied to Geneva. Now, when I looked at their website, right, let me show you the website here. Now, when I looked at the website, it's kind of got this funky, I don't know, not hipster, but, this rocker kind of vibe going on. And then when you look at their Instagram, like these dudes, they definitely don't have the Switzerland vibe going on. But they look cool. But, definitely not the Swiss vibe. So I don't really understand if they're from Geneva, the connection to Geneva, or is it just the name? I don't know. But the big thing, of course, as you can see, is the gold leaf on the wrapper. All right, let's take it out of the way. So this one is the Elegante, and the Elegante is a 4.5 by 52, kind of a short Robusto. And it's a pretty cigar. So evidently it's, here's the back of the band. Oh. Cavalier. I'm going to say Cavalier because I just kind of like that. And it's got this kind of Roman-esque, Greek-ish, I don't know, horse trying to invade the man kind of thing going on. I don't know what that is either. I don't know what that is, but I kind of dig that. Everything is like, everything on their packaging seems to have the gold leaf, the gold square, the gold triangle. And so that let's have a look back at their website. Oh, here we go. So George says, if you have to use a beaker, do you need a Bunsen honeydew? Bunsen honeydew, I don't know what that means. Or the French version of which is Chevalier. But it says Cavalier. Well, I don't know. I like Chevalier. I'd probably use Chevalier if I was. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like they're in the if I look at about who we are. Oh, maybe I didn't look at that. Oh, here we go. Founded by Sebastian de Coppe, originally from Geneva. Okay. After living in Dunley, Honduras in his early 20s. Oh, was he there in the 90s and such when Rocky Patel was going buck wild? That would have been crazy times there. There he'd been learning one of the premium cigar process. Okay. Adin Perez from the San Judas Tadeo factory. Okay. There we go. Okay, now I see. Oh, I missed this part earlier. Okay, so he is a Swiss guy that's been hanging out too much with crazy Americans. All right, that's cool. And then now we're going to go to the White Series, which is the core line, one of their core lines. And what do they say? Original blend of the brand. His first take on a mild to medium but very complex cigar. The cigars offer beautiful transitions in all sizes, while each of them provides a distinct experience of personality. So we got 4.5 by 52, Habano, Connecticut, Habano. Yeah, right on. Excellent. They look like a couple of goofs. Well, but maybe I can agree with that, but maybe they'd be cool. I think they look like the kind of goofs that'd be cool to hang out with, and that's all right. Sebastian lives in Geneva, but learned cigars. There we go. Yes. The gold design said designed by his wife, X. I mean, I dig it. It's kind of got this strangely like, I feel it's kind of got this Caligula. The logo has this Caligula, this Greek Caligula kind of esque feel to it. 5 gold pieces, and by the power of the Senate of Rome, that kind of thing. It's a blend in conversation with a Davidoff. Oh, all right. Excellent. I look forward to it. I mean, Alex spoke very, very highly of it. So I'm looking forward to it. It's got a nice, the feeling on the wrapper is very silky, and it's got a light kind of color to it. And we've got a little bit of a pinch. What's this called, George? I forgot the name of it now. Kind of like a little, like the thing the Pope wears. Caligula was Roman, leave the Greeks out, but it looks kind of Greek. Doesn't it? Greek, Roman? I don't know. It's all kind of the same. When you're the Spaniard, it's all the same. All right, let's cut into it. We're going to get our Gotta get the score sheet out now. I think the wrapper is definitely on the lighter end of things, right? Kind of there. Not too heavy, like, you know, some cigars have big, what do you call it? Manure kind of smell. Maybe like a pigtail. There we go, pigtail. Maybe like a light sweet manure, but like a very dry manure, like a sweet dry manure is probably the best way to do it. So it's not terribly heavy. All right. Using the cheap cutter to give us a pretty decent looking cut. Look at that. Not bad. Oh, not bad. Tony says, that's a much nicer looking cigar than one I got from Pennsylvania. I'm sorry to see. I'm sorry to hear that it wasn't the one you had wasn't so nice. Would you also get the white series? Beautiful, shiny, almost. Yeah, it's really, really nice. It's really nicely done. Like I was, and plus, so when I got it from Alex last Thursday, I was really careful with it to try to keep it in the best condition possible. So I, kept it in its bag. I added it to my little travel humidor that has the Boveda pack and all that. So really wanted to try to preserve it as much as possible. All right, let's do some cold drawing. A little bit, like a bit slippery on the lips, but very pleasant there, very pleasant. The draw is very easy, very little resistance. Some light sweetness on the tongue, but very little. There's no real distinct flavors that come from the cold draw. Tony says a Toro size, very modeled wrapper. Modeled wrapper. Okay, modeled wrapper. Did you get it from a CI store? All right, so we're going to use a little bit of matches from a place that I went to in Cleveland called Robusto and Briar. Nice, seemed like a nice shop. Some of the clientele didn't seem to be very friendly, but a little bit more. Okay, there we go. The light is up. I'm getting a little bit of, and initially there was a little bit of bitterness on the first match, but what I'm getting right away now is a little bit of like saltiness. This saltiness kind of, I want to say it gives me the saltiness kind of this Space Side type of whiskey that I had a while back. It's a little bit sharp, though. That's precisely the trouble with small brands. Inconsistent. Yeah. It's got a little bit of a strange burn starting off here, like you can see right there. I don't know what that is. I'm trying. I don't want to. I just started puffing. Oh, it's actually mirrored on this side somewhat. Columbia, Pennsylvania, or Columbia, Maryland? George says salty cigars with a vegetal coffee. Geez, yeah, Let's see how that goes. Salty and veggie. Not terrible. Not terrible. Maybe they kind of negate each other out. Cancel each other out. Brian, did you see that thing in Albuquerque today? There was a explosion. These HVAC guys were working in one of the Bernie's or Barry's, like grocery store, and I guess they must have ignited like a gas line or something, because there was an explosion. 2 people are in critical condition in the hospital, and start a small fire in the grocery store. It was kind of crazy. It's a little bit of biting on the back of the throat. But not bad. There's a bit of not acridity, but sharpness on the tongue. Kind of like there's a bitingness on the rear of the throat. That kind of bitingness is also on the tongue, the top of the tongue. Huh. So what else been going on? I got this today. I went and picked up a new computer. It's back there you can kind of see it right here. It's a 2015 MacBook Pro that I got on an online auction for like $250. And really, I got it because I was thinking, you know what? When we go back to the studio, I know I've been taking the computer that I have up here, my editing computer, taking it out here, bringing it down there, setting it up every time. And I was thinking, I should just get a computer that I can, run the system on, find one that's relatively inexpensive and use that. And so I was able to find one, picked it up today, but now I'm still kind of like setting it all up, making sure the OS is up to date and all of the browsers and all whatever. You always kind of forget, after you use a machine for a while, that the setup procedure can be quite involved. George says, so far you are describing a dramatic disconnect from visual to flavors and aroma. Yeah, I hear you on that. Hopefully we'll get something back together. Yeah, that's why I was like, ooh. 350 would have been okay. 250, that was pretty good. So I've actually got it set up in here so I can go to another camera, right? Look at that. I still don't know why I would need to do these things. But the nice thing is that I can do it and have like transitions. So, things like that. I don't know. Does that make it more exciting? Maybe. I'm hoping that it smoothens out. It's still a little bit sharp on the tongue. The stick looks lovely. Yeah, it's really pretty. It's really, really pretty. The smoke is... Well, here's the thing. I don't know what it should be like, right? Right now, there's a little bit. There's some brightness, and the saltiness that I mentioned earlier at the arts. That saltiness has kind of like given way to a little bit more of a sharpness, but it wasn't a negative saltiness, right? Like I remember years ago, I had the Speyburn Speyside Scotch, and I thought that was really lovely, and it had a saltiness to it that paired very well with the Monte Cristo number 2 that I had that time. This is the outset of the cigar had that light salt in it, that pleasant saltiness that it reminded me of. But it's definitely not that heavy, like spice, black pepper, deeply complex, experience that we have with other cigars. This is a very different experience than those. And the burn is a little bit running off. And I don't know, you tell me, am I smoking it too hard? Do I look like I'm smoking it too hard? I feel like I'm trying to be a little more reserved with this particular cigar, but like it is starting to burn, like run. It's starting to run away here. And I always wonder, like, I get these unevenness. Is it because I'm smoking it too much? And is it because I smoke it heavily at the outset after I've lit the cigar? And because, you're lighting it, you can't really just give it all even light. You have to start somewhere. And because am I smoking too fast that it exploits where I started the burn? I don't know. In the case of Scotch, to me at least, salty equals briny. But I presume that when you say briny, that's a pejorative statement, yes? All right, George says slow down. All right, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to put it down. This is kind of my problem, is that I like to go. I like to get in the cigar and like go. I'm going to put it down now. Like last week, I think I smoked that cigar at a good pace. But we had a little more interaction, a little more discussion. Yeah, I was kind of concerned earlier if we were going to be able to do the show tonight, because around 6 o'clock, I was looking outside and it's like suddenly we got these like tornado looking wind, like clouds. And I was like, oh man, are we going to have bad weather? We didn't have, it was dark, dirty skies, but it didn't turn out to be very bad at all, at least not where I am. So, we had a couple times where power went out. So I was like concerned that, if we lose power, then I won't be able to. We might not be able to do the broadcast tonight. So, but luckily, everything turned out well. Yeah, really white ash. It's really, really nice and white. Like, of course, it's splitting right there. Okay, so the brine is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, good. I don't know if I would say that this cigar started out briny. At least not to what I think of brine. Just definitely like a little light saltiness, like that sea salt air, that the salt laden sea air, right? When you're at the beach and there's a lot of like crashing of the waves. Still thinking about the donut. You should go down and pick up that donut. Head over to Dunkin's and get it. Violent storm here in DC, but it passed quickly. Okay, good. Yeah, it was pretty quickly here. Where I'm located, we didn't get very heavy. It was solid rain. I think the really heavy stuff kind of passed to the south of me. So, and Rusty thinks that storm is headed up his way. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully it blows out to sea. So another thing I was doing when I was in Cleveland, so I was at Larder, right, getting that pastrami sandwich. And then as I was reading on the Google, on the YouTubes, the Googles, I came across this thing that said the best fried chicken in America is 1 hour south of Cleveland in a town called Barberton, which is just southwest of Akron. And I was like, what? The best fried chicken in America? And it's only an hour away. I would be remiss not to investigate that myself. So after eating, I ate half of the sandwich at Larder, and I was like, okay, I gotta go. Jumped in the car, drove the hour down to Barberton. Oh, here's something I found, and this is a tip. This is a tip for all of you guys as you travel anywhere in the world. So as I'm driving to Barberton, actually, I went to the New Balance shoe store first because I needed some new shoes. My New Balance are getting a little bit worn out. So I was like, okay, where's the factory outlet? Okay, good. Went there, got me my $60 shoes, and I was like, all right, I'm on my way. So, when you're traveling, sometimes you get caught up with Montezuma's Revenge. Let's say that's one thing. Or you just need to take care of your business, right? You're cruising along your day and everything's going well. And then suddenly you realize that, oh, I need to relieve myself. So here's my pro tip in the world. Look for a hotel. Look for a decent hotel. And I find this to be true pretty much anywhere in the world and any city and anywhere you go. So I'm driving along down the highway, and I see, how those blue signs, they have like gas, lodging, food, Fairfield Inn by Marriott. I'm going to stop by and check it out. Now, with the COVID times, you never know, because there were some changes in COVID. The Fairfield Marriott, I stopped by, pretty nice. Walked in, and you kind of have to, and depending on the size of the hotel, the bigger the hotel, not as big a deal. The smaller the hotel, like the Fairfield was a relatively smaller, like you walk through the front doors and the front desk people can see you. So you kind of have to like know where you're going, right? And so you walk into the lobby, hallways go left and right. I figure I have a 50-50 chance of making it. You just got to walk with confidence that you belong. Turn left, go down the hallway. Like, well, I have to go back and like look like a fool to this and like maybe perhaps be questioned. No. I'm just going to keep walking. Walk down. There it was. Clean bathrooms. Fresh and clean. Took, 10 minutes or so out of the way. Took care of things. Back on the road. No problem. That's my tip for all of you guys. And I have done this all over the world. I'm really, really, really serious for this. Like, I remember one time I was in one of the times I was in Manila, and one time I was like violently ill. Like I had eaten something wrong, and it was projectile, like exorcist level. Like I was like, oh my God, man, that was really bad. I don't know. And like I was staying with my uncle at the time, and my uncle's house is like to drive there, it's half an hour. I don't know how I made it back. To this day, I don't recall how I got back there. I mean, I was really, well, anyway, so hotels, use them. Same here for the storm, Brian. And then we need donuts for the 20th. There we go. Complete lie. Best fried chicken. And I have to, that's what they say. And so, best fried chicken in Idaho. Oh, and Rusty's having halal chicken and rice. Oh, nice, excellent. The halal chicken, is that the fried or they grilled it? That's awesome, Amy. Hello, Amy. Tell Amy we said hello. So evidently, this fried chicken joint in Barberton is. How this all happened is there's a bunch of Serbian people that emigrated to this part of Ohio, I think like in the early 1900s. So they opened this place called Belgrade Gardens in 1933, and it's been running ever since. And you go there, and man, the decor is like straight out of the 1980s. Like it's got this kind of pinkish tone and these booths that are like straight out of the 80s. I mean, it's like returning to like 1985. And my server, this waitress, she was very nice. A little bit older lady, but super, super nice. Like she was totally taking care of me. Like I was anything I wanted, she was taking care of me. So they have the fried chicken. They have the fried chicken. So it comes with fried chicken. So they give you like a basket of bread. So white bread and pumpernickel bread. And then they give you coleslaw, which is a vinegar-based coleslaw that's really finely shredded. Like the shreds are really fine and long. So they kind of intertwine, right? And that kind of had a real nice, fresh, crisp, clean flavor to it. And then with the meal, they bring some French fries, which are pretty good, the fried chicken, and what they call hot sauce. And the hot sauce is this unique side dish. It comes in like those little side bowls. And basically, it's kind of like, it's basically tomatoes with sliced onions, some chicken broth, hot peppers, a little bit of hot peppers, and rice. Not a lot of rice, but like Like, imagine if you went to get red beans and rice at Popeyes and you half the amount of rice. That's kind of the ratio of rice to the liquid. And it's a very soupy kind of thing. And the idea is either to dip the chicken in it or spoon it on top and eat it. Grilled chicken. Ah, nice, nice. And George says, don't expect the experience of Cuba, Honduras. Oh, no. I think if you hunted down some of the places in Honduras, you could probably get away with that, I think. Now, if you're in Cuba, Hotel Nacional, I don't know, they might challenge you. I haven't tried it. I haven't tried those places. But, speaking of which, let's go back to the Honduras. Like, if you're in Tegucigalpa or San Pedro Sula, this is probably, you would not, this would probably not work if you went to the local hotels, right? Like, local hotels don't have that many amenities. But if you go to the chain hotels, it's always a chain hotel. It's kind of like, when you want to go find clean bathrooms, you usually go to McDonald's. Kind of like that. Go to the chain. George says Belgrade Gardens offers some pretty good dumplings. Yeah, when I walked by one of the tables, they had their paprikash, which had the dumplings in it. That looked amazing. I asked my server, I said, what is that? She's like, that's the paprikash. And I was like, man, I really want to get that too. But I had just had the sandwich earlier. I had, coffee and like a biscotti before that. And I was like, man, I can't eat. I couldn't even finish the 4 pieces of chicken that was in part of my order. I only ate 2 of them. So the paprikash would have been like ridiculous. Although I did want to try it. It really looked good. But I never trusted fried chicken that over spaghetti aside. Well, Jollibee has good fried chicken. No way that's the best. So here's the thing. So the fried chicken was very interesting in that it had a really thick breading, like a flour and breadcrumb based breading. And it's kind of like the breading that you get on chicken fried steak. It's kind of like that, but like at least double, maybe triple the thickness, right? So it doesn't, how when you slice into chicken fried steak, it kind of flakes off. This one doesn't flake off as easily. It's thicker. And as I'm eating the chicken, it had this funkiness to it, like a funkiness that I hadn't tasted in a long time. And I was kind of like thrown off by it at first. I'm like, there's this funky flavor to it. And then it finally hit me after a few moments. And I asked my server, I said, hey, do you get these chickens from like a local farm, like pastured kind of chicken? She's like, yeah. Because when you look at the leg, they're really small. And the pieces are actually very small for like Purdue chickens. And then it hit me, that funk is the gaminess. It's actually the flavor of chicken, what chicken tastes like when they're not, fat and sitting down the whole time, when they actually have to move and like exercise their muscles. So that was really unique. The problem to me with the chicken, and why I can't agree with a lot of these people that are like, this is the best chicken in America, is that they don't season the chicken. Like, there's no salt. Like, if you had salted the chicken, I bet it'd be great. But it's not salted. There's no salt. There's no seasoning. It's like I had to add salt. I even had to add salt to the hot sauce. And the hot sauce, very, very mild. Compared to like Tabasco. Like Tabasco would be more spicy than this hot sauce. So it's a very mild chicken, a very mild hot sauce. So best fried chicken in America? I don't know. I mean, I love my Popeyes. But that paprikash looked fantastic. Question for everyone. What's your favorite kind of chicken? Let us know. Let us know down below. Brian says, in New York, I use hotel bathrooms. Gotta walk with confidence. Gotta look like you belong there. The dark meat. Oh, so that reminds me. So this Belgrade Gardens, because they use such a thick batter, it does keep the meat very juicy. Like the breast that I had Like they cooked it, and they cooked it to order, which is really, that's a great aspect of it. Like you wait a while, but they're cooking to order, and it's not overcooked. Like that breast was like right on the verge of like just being cooked. Like, there's like, okay, it's still red, it's still kind of like, it's still not cooked, right? It's still not cooked. It's still not, so you're not cooked, not cooked, not cooked, not cooked. And they stopped like right there. And oh, like you look at, like I was looking at part of it, right? The part that's close to the bone, I was like, is that fully cooked? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. That's just super juicy. So they bring it right along the edge. That's really, I think that takes a lot of skill. Hungarian fried chicken. That's my people, Rusty. You're Hungarian? Leg, wing, thigh. Tony likes thighs and wings. Feet is not, no, that's not a cut. That's a Chinese thing. Thighs, not wings. Yeah, thighs are good. Thighs are good. So in Hawaii, there's a place called Zippy's. And it's kind of like the local version of Denny's, but to local taste. And so there's a lot of, the menu is very different than Denny's. But they have their roasted chicken there, and it's only thighs. So when you order the chicken, it's really delicious. And it's only thighs, and they cut, it's just the thigh bone. It doesn't have the other half. So it's like very good for like clean eating. So you can, but I also like wings. I made wings yesterday. So I took the wings, salted them up, put them in a bowl, put them in the refrigerator, let them sit for a couple hours, and then deep fried them in peanut oil till they were done. Tossed them in butter with a little bit of soy sauce. And I just decided to try the soy sauce thing because, like, one of the things in Japan that people eat is, when you're just kind of like don't have any money, I guess, you get steamed rice with butter and a little bit of soy sauce, and you mix it all together. Man, it's so good. It's such a nice blend of umami and butter. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. So I took the butter, melted it down in the wok, added some soy sauce, put the chicken in, tossed it around, put on a ton of Old Bay, because I love Old Bay wings. But what I don't like about Old Bay wings in most places, they got naked wings and they're dry, and they put the Old Bay, which is fine. When you're from Maryland, Old Bay on anything, it's fine. But I always like to put the butter so that it gives you a little more unctuousness, and then it sticks more. And then I put this a little bit of soy sauce for that umami-ness, that kind of saltiness. Oh, that's the way to try that next time. Great chicken at Gundel in Budapest, but they bake it. Ooh, that sounds good. Baked chicken's fun. Shake and bake. You can you bake that too. Takes a lot of faith to make a meal. And Tony says he's been thinking of holy chicken lately. Huli chicken, yeah, huli. The huli part, the Huli, is the Hawaiian word for turn. So huli is to turn. Right? We can do that on the 20th. That would be pretty epic. I have not been to that place. I would like to try that. You had it served by, oh, nice. That's why I can't have that experience anymore. Super size B2, holy chicken, nice. $3 hours and $4.65 to crisp the smoked wings. That sounds good. We're getting a little bit of an even burn. Well, look at that. That's getting kind of crazy. And I've been conscious of trying not to smoke it too much. So it's got this it's definitely a brighter toned cigar that has some depth to it, but it's not real deep. It's nice and it's gotten bright. The draw is easy. The burn is kind of messed up. I mean, it's got nice ash. Like the whiteness is really nice. Oh, yeah. George says, taste the coffee again. Yeah, I haven't tasted much coffee today. Actually, it turns out this kind of like the vegetalness has toned down. It's just kind of this brighter coffee, kind of like it's got a higher end to it. Like, some coffees, they have really heavy notes of chocolate and body. This is kind of a medium bodied, but with higher notes, brighter notes, but not sharp, acidic brightness, just kind of a higher table. It's the best way that I can describe it, I think. Wait till you reach the gold. Okay, it seems like it's trying to avoid burning in the gold. Look at that. It's burning deeper here, less in the front. Now, it could also be that I've got a fan over here that's blowing across, but it's not, I don't think it's really affecting where I have the ashtray. George says he likes brighter notes. Yeah, it's not bad. It's been relatively nice. It just doesn't have that depth of cigars that I've been, normally smoking. I just wish the burn was more even. Like it's kind of, you can see here, it's kind of splitting, right? Like I want to tap it. I feel like I'm going to tap it. There we go. It's got this kind of like cavey split. They say gold is tasteless. I think so. It seems like the ultimate decadence to burn gold. So what have you guys been watching lately? The last episode of this season of the Orville just dropped today, but I have not seen it yet. I did watch the most recent episode of Westworld. That's kind of interesting. So Westworld, we've got Aaron Paul. And for some reason, this season, Aaron Paul's character, when I see him on screen, he reminds me of Buddy. Like I see him and I think, we could do a remake and Buddy could play that role. Grow Buddy's hair a little bit longer. I think so. Paper Girls. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not familiar with that one. Paper Girls is what? All right, now I'm going to look up Paper Girls and see what Paper Girls is all about. Four 12-year-old newspaper delivery girls set in Stony Stream, a fictional suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. Oh, Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, the burn is really just kind of crazy on this thing. I'm going to stop for a few minutes, see if that'll level it out. Oh, look at this guy. Okay, we blocked that guy. I was on a live stream. I was watching a live stream from some people that I follow earlier today, and they had a lot of these naked porn comments. Paper Girls kicked off your porn comments. Stop putting girls with porn. That's kind of creepy. But going back, oh yes, yeah, definitely. Something about knocking that out was the wrong thing to do, because that taste was just, when it gets really hot, it just gets that like acridity. Okay, we're going to put that down for a few moments. You may have to relight and restart that one. That's a little bit of a shame. But remember the chicken. Go back to the chicken. So I like all the pieces. Like if it's fried chicken, I'm happy to eat it. I like the thigh, but sometimes you want a breast. You know what I used to really love was drumsticks, but lately they're kind of like my least favorite. But going back to the wings, like I remember I used to go out with this one girl, and one of the most favorite things that I remember about dating her was that we would go out for chicken wings once in a while. And she loved the two-bone part, and I liked the drumette. We never had to fight about chicken wings ever. She would eat all the two bones, and I would eat the drumettes and be very, very copacetic. Love that about her. George used girls and wacky the same. And I should relight, but go slowly. All right, so we're going to go slowly. This time I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I'm going to use the lighter. Tony says, Amelia Pond is in a new movie called Duel, which looked interesting. Oh. Anytime Karen Gillan is in a movie, I like to watch it. Well, speaking of girls that I like to watch in movies, did you see the movie with Ryan Gosling, the Netflix film, The Gray Man? You know, it was with Ana de Armas. Actually, that's the reason why. If Ana de Armas is in the movie, I'm going to watch it. I will watch that movie. It was actually pretty entertaining. I really enjoyed it. Oh, Duel. Okay, so I looked it up, and Duel, yes, I saw that. That's actually quite an interesting movie, and it's really, evidently in this part of the world, it also has Aaron Paul. In this time of existence, they can create duplicates of you. Like if you're terminally ill, they create a duplicate. But in this movie, Karen Gillan's character was terminally ill. So they create a duplicate of her. And then she recovers and is no longer terminally ill and will no longer die in the specified time. So they cannot have two of the same beings in the society. So they must have a duel, D-U-E-L, to determine who lives. Interesting premise. Interesting premise. The two-bone flat. I think that's really what they're called. Hey, I think that anytime Ana de Armas is in a movie, it's never a waste of time. Like I'm happy to watch. Like Blade Runner, I'm happy to watch that too. And that was a strange movie, and I'm a big fan of the original. But Ana de Armas, she makes it all right. So I don't know if you've seen the previews for that Marilyn movie, Blonde, that Ana de Armas is starring in. She looks fantastic in that movie too. I'm a fan of hers. I'm a fan. So what that means is that being a fan, it's just kind of like there's no logic to it. Yes, great, good, very good, very good. All right, so let us. Oh no. Oh, it's so uneven. Oh, good Lord. Anna could do a video painting of that with you. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so got a little bit out of control there with the relight. Starting to encroach on the gold. We'll see what happens. Unfortunately, the cigar is plagued by this burningness. I'm hoping that it'll even out. But really, we're at this point where it's burning down, and this is the center. Like, it's almost on this side of the cigar, it's almost to the center of where the gold diamond would be. So it's like, I wonder if the gold, and the way that it's burning, I wonder if the gold is retarding the burn somehow, forcing it to be uneven. George says, reminds me of watching Farrah Fawcett do. How guys in the 70s felt about Farrah Fawcett. That's my thoughts on Ana de Armas. Take the banding off. Now we're getting into the burning of the gold. It's just starting to burn. Maybe I should have got some Goldschlager for this one. Maybe that would have been the ultimate pairing. All right, I'm tempted to knock off the ash, but I'm not going to do that because I think the ash does provide some level of insulation. It's kind of curling. Look at that. So we kind of hinted on it in several times tonight. But if you're just watching and you don't really know, we are going to have our 100th episode anniversary on August 20th here at the Roastery in Cockeysville, Maryland. So if you have a chance, come on down. We're going to start probably around 2 or 3 o'clock or so. Dinner will come out, and then we're going to start our live stream at 6 p.m. So we're going to have a long, epic live stream. So come on down. Food, beverage, cigars, swag, giveaways. What more can you ask for? Okay, I gotta slow. Like, there's a little bit of sharpness happening. Oh, and it's buckling. Look at the metal. It's buckling. The gold is buckling. Part of me wants to tear it off and like save it. Melt it down. Look at that. Interesting. This camera works pretty good. So if you remember a few weeks ago, about a couple months ago, I got this camera, which is the A6000, I think, which is different than the one that I normally use. This is the one that I normally use over here. Whenever we're like shooting in the studio, I tend to making my primary camera as the secondary. I don't know why that happens, but okay, so we're really burning into it now. We are getting, it has re-evened itself out. Re-evened, or it has evened itself out. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I just knocked it out. I'm knocking out because I just have it. There's the gold. Gold pieces are everywhere. It's not. It's good. It's good. It's not bad. It's just got. It is a brighter, higher cigar. Yeah, it'll be nice. It'll be nice to see everyone. So it has split and gone a little more gray. It's still a bit white, I think. I think if we look down here, definitely gray, or I don't know why that is. Maybe. Oh, I guess the wrapper burns white, but the fillers burn gray. Like a masquerade. Hopefully it won't be terribly hot. Oh, and I was just watching For All. Oh, that's what I was watching in the middle of. I had seen the Orville. I'd seen Westworld. I have it. I watched like the first part of the last episode of For All Mankind. That they have some kind of emergency on the surface, landslides or something, and that's kind of where I left off. But I'm running out of shows now. At least till the new season starts in a month or so. The Sands of Aries. Oh, someone mentioned that, or I read something about that. That looked like could be quite interesting. Oh, that's the episode. Yeah. Sorry, why did I hear Sands of Aries? Yeah, that's the episode. That's the episode that I'm watching right now. I don't want to read about that. I almost burned through the gold. I'm feeling a little bit of sharpness, but I don't know if that's from the gold or what I need to do. Hold on one second. What's happening is that it's getting smoky here because I have not been running the exhaust. I've been trying to preserve the air conditioning to keep it cool, but now it's getting a little bit thick for my tastes. So turn the exhaust system on. So let that run for a little while. Brian says Lower Decks start this month. Oh, good. Beckett Mariner, her crew. I'd like to see what happened with them. I think that's some interesting shows. Like they've got a lot of Star Trek. Oh, speaking of Star Trek, Nichelle Nichols, Uhura, passed away this week. That's a sad thing. She was like 90 plus. I think the only two cast members left is what? George Takei and William Shatner. Oh, I think I remember reading something that William Shatner said was kind of critical. Oh, he was kind of critical of Strange New Worlds. Don't know why. I mean, Strange New Worlds is probably the best one of all of the new ones. I think they're going to do Lower Decks. And then after Lower Decks is finished, I think they're going to bring back the second half of the first season of Star Trek Prodigy, which is actually surprisingly pretty good. Okay, so we're pretty much through the gold now. So the gold really hasn't burned. Like, look at it. It's still there. Could probably harvest it. That is disappointing. You see red shirts, you just want to see carnage. Oh, Bill Russell, too. That's right, man. Time keeps on moving. Yeah, it is kind of thick in here. So on the way back home from my trip, I stopped off in Pittsburgh for a night. Went to visit some friends. Went to a Thai restaurant called Nikki's. Actually, really good Thai. Like it was a nice change. Actually, I called up my friend and I was like, hey, let's go have some dim sum on Sunday. And I figured, she's Asian. She would know dim sum. She had never had dim sum in her entire life. I was like, wait a minute. You've never had dim sum ever? I was like, what? I didn't understand. I was like, what? That's crazy. All right. So we went and had Thai, and then the next morning we went to Original Pancake House, where I tried their Dutch baby. A little bit eggy. I didn't quite like it as much. I thought they would do a real better job. I mean, I think the Dutch baby I make at home was better than the one that I had there. But they had some thick cut bacon. But I would like a little more assertiveness. Oh, that's another thing. In Cleveland, I went to a place, you look at Eater and like Cleveland Magazine, and they say these are the best restaurants. And one of the things they talked about was this place called Cleveland Bagel Bakery. New hipster kind of joint, makes bagels. Nice bagels, actually. There was this one bagel that I looked at, the plain bagel. It was all blistered and like looking really nice. So I had their lox sandwich, which is basically cream cheese, lox, capers, and red onions. Nice. But the thing is, I was like, I thought the lox was really nice, but like most lox, most commercial lox is very mild in flavor. For the last few years, I've been making my own lox. So I get the loin of salmon and I make my own gravlax with sugar and salt. And I tend to be a little bit more assertive. Like I look for the really like fatty and orange Norwegian type of salmon. So the salmon, the gravlax that I make tends to be very like assertive in flavor. So it really punches through. It really punches through when you mix it with like everything bagel and the cream cheese. So I've really come to like that. So I was a little bit disappointed. Oh, Paul Coker Jr. too. Wow. Paul designed all the characters in the Rankin Vast stop motion animated show Seneca. Oh, wow. Oh, those were some great stop motion animated shows. I believe they still sell them. They still show them, don't they, on television? Rusty says, I have Bill Russell's story, worked at a hotel here in New Jersey. Room service open till 11. At 10:58, the kitchen phone rings and says the guest just arrived after flight delays. He asks if the kitchen is still open. They oblige. The order doesn't get until 11:20 for lamb chops. Well done. Oh, that sucks, man. That sucks. Didn't leave till close to midnight. The next day, the temper was, oh, nice. Rudolph and Frosty. Those are good. And Father Time. Oh, now that we're past that, wow, it's really changing now. It's kind of getting more depth, more complexity, a little bit of spiciness to it, like that high level, that high notes that it was giving, come down just a little bit. Spices emerged. It's blending really well. It's becoming very interesting now. Ooh. Oh, that's quite good now. Normally we get cigars that either stay the same level of complexity and depth throughout the entire experience, especially into the last third, or they diminish. This one has been one way for the first 2/3, and now in this last third, it's kind of shooting upwards. The Heat Miser is the prototype for Matt Booth. Well, he is of the right age to base it on the Heat Miser. That reminds me, just now, it occurs to me that the Heat Miser must also have been the inspiration for that kid in the Incredibles. Remember that kid that wanted to be like Mr. Incredible, that had all the gadgets with the red. He had the big hair like the Heat Miser. I didn't think about it till just that moment. Although I think Matt Booth would have been better served to have made his hair red. That would have been kind of epic. Brian, maybe you should do that with your style. Now I wish this cigar was like another 2 inches longer. Now I'm tempted to knock it off, to tap it, but like I'm afraid that would lose. It would change it again. Yes, exactly. Oh, yeah, man, that's really different. Actually, so it's kind of changing it where we had just a moment of spice. That spice has kind of changed a little bit. Like it's morphing now. It's changing. I'm not sure which way it's going, but it's interesting. Don't tap it. No, and I won't tap it. I'm resisting the urge to tap. I'm hoping the exhaust works faster because the temperature is definitely rising. Humidity is rising. Waiting for the smoke to abate a little bit more before we shut it off. Ooh, so what's going on this weekend? I was thinking about going to check out the Turkey Hill thing. Oh, George got a dinner date. Oh, enjoy yourself. Hope it's a good dinner. Do you know where you're going yet, or enjoy it? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you being here again, as always. I'm just now looking at some of the messages on my text messaging. Sorry, I haven't been checking them lately. Brian, I'm looking at your My Cozy Corner thing. Battle Monument Elementary School, ages 3 to 21, second grade level. The wish list: bean bags, 5x7 rug, paper airplane, STEM type learning books, early science types. Oh, that was over the weekend. Sorry, gosh, that's. Order the tables, chairs, rug, and shelving units for the 5 schools. What else do you need with Brian? I'm looking here now. 5 schools complete. Oh, you got to help deliver 3rd week of August. Saturday the 20th. Oh, that's going to be difficult. I can come in the morning. If we can do it in the morning, we can do that. Oh, look at this. This guy's back again. Naked HD. Okay, get rid of that guy. They're all over the place today. $20 more schools to go. So do we need more materials for the other 20 schools? Sorry, I've been really tardy with text messages this past week. Oh, it fell off. Fell off. Now it's burning all funky. Oh, come on now. Oh, man. So what's been happening in the world? I saw that Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan. China was upset about that. I don't really understand why they're so upset, but Evidently today they answered by launching missiles and crashing them in the waters around Taiwan. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Where are they going with this? I guess that's just a signal they're upset. And then there's just that report about there's that nuclear power plant that's in the Ukraine, or was in the Ukraine, that the Russians have taken over, and they have Ukrainian workers in there. And I don't know if the Ukrainian workers are trying to sabotage the plant or something, but looks like we might have another meltdown there. Which would be a bad thing. 6 more schools before the end of the year. I'll have to make more purchase deliveries. Okay. We'll talk more about it when I see you. Is there a link for something that you're working on? Maybe I can put that in the show notes so that any of our viewers can participate if they feel so inclined. Yeah, so, here we are again. Look at that. New AI dating for all tastes and ages. I should click on that and say yes. Evidently now that YouTube's been experiencing a lot of these kind of hackers coming into live streams. That's our third one tonight. The live stream I was watching earlier had 3 invasions as well. And then you see a lot of in the whole YouTube world, there's a whole thing of people, hackers or whatever, are leaving like links for people to follow in the comments. That's evidently been a big problem. So if you ever comment on a video in YouTube and somebody responds like, looks like it's the actual creator, those are not how creators actually interact and send links in the comments. There's 3 buttons on the right side of that comment. Just click on that and report that as spam to YouTube, and that usually knocks it out. I think if everybody that gets those kind of messages, hits those spam links, that'll help to cut down on the issue. And good news for our main channel. So main channel today, the Ono Coffee channel, finally made 1,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for your support. Appreciate that. And that's pretty exciting. What that really means is that when you reach 1,000 subscribers, there's a couple other functionalities that become available to the channel. Now the new version, the new update that they recently introduced was that there'll be the opportunity to have merchandise links in the text box below the screen, below the window. And it also makes if you have 1,000 subscribers and if you have 4,000 hours of watch time on a channel per year, you're then eligible for what they call monetization. So finally, maybe I can make a little cash to support the channel and get better things. What spam account is this? Well, if they're going to bring girls, maybe that'll be all right. But unlikely they're going to come in from India or Bangladesh or Hyderabad. I don't know if you see, there's a couple channels on YouTube here. One of them is called Scammer Payback. And these guys are trying to out these scam call centers in that part of the world. And they do a pretty good job with it. Personally, I would like to see our nation, because there's so many people that are getting taken by these phone scams and these call centers, that really we really should declare them to be a threat to national security and deem them as terrorist organizations. I think that would be an appropriate response, something that Biden really should be doing. Brian says, I'm married, but I'm open to them bringing women. Yeah, if they're willing to bring the women. So the cigar is burning. Now that the thing got tapped out, Burn it evenly. I'm going to try to I'm going to burn around. I always have this problem, right? When the cigar gets to this point, it always kind of interferes with my ability to draw on the cigar because I get the smoke in the nose. Or I know nothing. But I am fascinated about this thing. Rusty, I don't know if you've been following much of this. Have you done much with, do you know much about this koji thing? The book is really a great primer on koji bacteria, like what it's about, how to cultivate it, how to use it. Like some people are using it to make vinegars, of course, and curing meats is a big thing. Using with dairy and eggs, like it's really quite fascinating. I mean, I'm only in like the first chapter, so I'm just barely into this chapter. What is koji? But it does seem quite an interesting book. I don't know if you've done much of that. I came to the realization the other day that I haven't really been reading much. Like I've been reading books about YouTube strategies and ways to do it, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting reading. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll have it here at the roaster when you come, so you can have a look at it. See if it might be something to add to your collection. Oh yeah, that book. I think Rene Redzepi does a little bit with koji as well. From what I recall, I don't recall 100%, but I do believe he has some stuff on that. That's a book I'd like to get as well. One thing about these guys, they get to work on so many different projects because they have such a big staff. I would love to try a lot of these things, but when you're small staff or just one person, it's a lot harder to get into those projects. Man. So the cigar's doing pretty well. Actually, I'm going to bump up the score for this one. The burn has been okay. Draw has been very good. So I'll give that an 8 overall. Consistency, 7.5. Overall, 7.75. Let's see what that gives us. So let's look here. So for our scoring, we've got, I say 7.5 for the cold draw, Flavor, the first third, 7.5, 7.75 for the body. Second third, 7.5, 7.5. We had a little bit of a drop in the quality of the smoke during that period. And then flavor for the last third really came alive, especially that one segment after we finished with the gold, really became pretty. So I gave a little bit more of a bump there. Burn and draw overall 8. Like the burn was kind of difficult, as you can see in the quality scale, but the draw for the entire cigar was very good. So we kept that consistency. I would say 7.5, overall 7.75. So it gives us a final score of 77. So perhaps not the greatest, but let's put that in here. So that gives us the 18th cigar overall so far. I have not been able to, I did not take a moment to do the last week's show yet, so I have to go back and do that and add that in here. But right now, that's our listings for the year so far. Still at the top is the Piv Robusto from Illusione. Still the surprise cigar of that, and plus the Monte Cristo Espada, another surprise. The La Riqueza 2022 was, yeah, that seems about right. But yeah, so good. Oh no. The cigar's really at the bitter end right now. All right, that's good. We're good to go here. I think we're pretty much at the end, so I guess we'll have to wind things down. All right, there we go. Our music's back. So coming up next week, we've got the Wildfire, the Revivalist Gorda. And then the week after that, on the 18th, we're going to be smoking the La Barba Ricochet. These are two cigars that I found at that cigar lounge in Cleveland. So that should be quite interesting. And then, of course, on that same week of the 18th, we got the 20th, our 100th episode, even though we are at episode 105 now. And we're going to be doing a whole battery of cigars for that one. I'm going to put this down now because I really can't smoke anymore. So as always, thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you spending another Thursday night here with me. It's been good to have all of you. And yeah, what are you going to do this week? Let me know. I don't know what's happening. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully it'll be a great week for you all. And yeah, so thanks for tuning in and see you next time.